Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ful-on, your Fulham-centric football podcast. I'm your host, Ash Woolford. Joining me today for our Cambridge United preview is AJ. How you doing, buddy?
Very good. Almost a local derby for me, this one.
It is. Yeah, it really, really is. Matt, how you doing, mate?
Not too bad. Cheers, how's you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Cambridge Cup game. We going off of what we know from the previous round. We're probably expecting a few changes for this one, AJ. Uh, the usual question about lineup. We know we're going to expect changes. Is there anyone you want to see in this game? Anything you want to see slightly differently to maybe how we would have approached the Brentford game on Saturday?
Funnily enough, I actually probably don't want to see Kevin in this game. Just to give him an opportunity to be ready for the Premier League fixture because I think he's got more to offer. It'd be great for his confidence, don't get me wrong, but I'm sure that he's got enough confidence based on what we've seen of him so far that he'd be ready and up running for the Premier League game. I'd much rather give Chukwueze a run out for this fixture. I think we're going to see a complete refresh of the back line if Robinson is fit. If he's not fit, then Cess probably starts again at left back with wholesale changes across the rest of the back line. Probably a game for Harrison Reed. Who else could potentially see? I have a feeling Muniz swaps out for Roll, but I think that might be a mistake. I'd like to see Muniz stay because this is an opportunity for him to really score a couple of goals and really boost his confidence because we know how much of a confident striker he is, and him bagging a couple would be great. If we don't see Muniz, I'd actually like to see the chap we picked up off of Bayern. I think this would be an excellent opportunity to see what he's got in the locker. But knowing Marco, it'll be same formation, same tactics with his usual cup switch outs of just rotating basically the whole squad for their like for like counterparts.
Yeah, it's not going to be too shocking if that happens. I think that's pretty much, what we have to expect. Maybe what we don't know too much about is, the Cambridge United team coming towards us on Tuesday night. Neil Harris is their manager at the moment. Anyone who's, aware of Neil Harris and the way he manages and he deals with football teams, he is a tidy manager for the leagues that he manages in. He's always done a good job no matter what club he's at. He did a brilliant job when he was at Millwall. The multiple times he was at Millwall, obviously, and we know that we're going to have a team that's going to come up to us that are not necessarily going to be disrespectful in the sense of the way they play, but more in the sense of they won't be too scared about the fact that they're playing against us. They'll come and try to play their own style of football, which Neil Harris has always sort of attempted to do, no matter you know who he's playing with. Maybe what we don't know too much is necessarily the players that we're playing against. But Matt, we had this discussion pre last leg about last round about I think because we're the home team, it's just more important that we play our style of football, right? And we got a nice, comfortable 2-0 win in the last round, but there were still some parts of the football that were a little bit messy. Um, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you last time in the last round. What's more important here? Is it performance, scoreline, or is it just get through, be professional, and then move on?
I think it's a mix of all three with this one because we don't know much about Cambridge. It's going to be one of those ones where I think, slow it down a bit and work for the goal instead of try and force it. But I think it will be a low scoring game. It'll just be mainly, for me, it's the way we play the football, not about the football itself. It's how we move the ball around the team and how we get the goals if we get any goals. Um, for me, it's definitely football focused on this one.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think at some point, as the season goes along, we've got to look at making sure that, you know, it's important that those who aren't necessarily Premier League starters are aware of their positioning, what they need to do, so that when they are being swapped out, they can play how they want to play. You know, we saw it in the last round with Cuenca, who obviously came in and played and started the game, who has had a couple of sort of cameo roles in games in the Premier League this season. That he looks sharp and ready to play when he's needed in the Premier League. And let's not kid ourselves. That is the most important thing at the moment, isn't it? It's that this time of the year, it's getting our form in the league sorted out first, and hoping that you can get a couple of good cup draws, which means you can sort of go through. AJ, I know I sort of asked you about players you're expecting, like the squad and what you're expecting. For those players that will come in, those that are maybe more on the peripheral, like Cuenca, you know, like Chuck Grazer, who's, well, as you say, you want to see get some game time. What's more important for them on Tuesday night? Is it the performance? Is it the playing the way Marco wants, or is it just going out and, you know, doing the job properly?
I mean, some of them will have something to prove, especially because they think they should be in or around the first team. Probably players like Emil Smith-Rowe, who's very likely to get a start in this game, will probably want to go and prove himself. But speaking realistically, I think it'll just be a game of managing the match and making sure we walk away from it winning, basically. I don't think there's much else to it that we need to stress about. It's one of those, if we come out of it as losers, is going to seriously impact us.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? The confidence that going through sort of has on you, because you know you look at the last couple of rounds and getting through and how important it is that you get through, but then you also have to look at, you know, it building over to confidence to the players that maybe not necessarily be in the first team, and the players even are the ones that are going to start on Sunday against Villa are probably going to take just as much joy out of this game than these guys are, right? So it's important that we move forward with that. In saying that, obviously you mentioned Muniz playing, and you know, because he needs a goal to get that confidence back. I think what was really noticeable in the last couple of games of Muniz is that when he has been on the pitch after he's missed a few opportunities, his head's dropped a little bit. I know he was a bit unlucky on Saturday night with the goal that he scored, obviously being ruled out because of the accidental elbow. But is it more important to him now that he just goes out and gets a goal, you know, hook by hook just plays? Or is it more important that, you know, the performance is there and the maturity levels in his performance is there? AJ, sorry.
I mean, he's a growing player, but it's clear that he's very, very, very confidence focused player. And I think the best thing we can do for him is give him as much opportunity to build his confidence as possible. And scoring is going to do that because he clearly loves the club plenty. And I don't think there's a question mark about that. But he definitely needs some confidence. And I think we should be trying to give that to him as much as possible. Yeah, he's a system player. Yeah, he knows his job. Yeah, he's always going to work hard. But there's no harm in giving the lad the opportunity to prove himself, frankly.
Yeah, I think you're sort of hitting the nail on the head exactly how it should be with that. And I think that one of the weird things about having a professional like Rail in the team is that, you know, it's not just at his age, but he's obviously, you know, you look at him and you go, uh, you know, your professionalism says that you should be fine and you should be playing. And we go from that. Matt, is there anything you want to see from the game, particularly from on Tuesday night, or is it just more of a case of go out with and move on?
I would like to see a new formation, um, especially with it being Cambridge. I'd like to see three at the back, 3-5-2. Be more aggressive with it, but also be more standoffish at the same time, let the ball do the work. But for the last couple of games, it's looked like we've tried to force it instead of let it come naturally. Whereas with the 3-5-2, you've got that natural transition of play coming in for the counter attacks. What I'd also like to see is a bit more link-up play going forward instead of bringing it back to bring it forward to bring it back to bring it forward sort of thing. Because I think we kill ourselves a little bit too much doing that, and it would be the ideal game to try some new things out, I think. But ultimately, the main goal for it is get through to the next round.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I don't know how much, if much football anyone's seen of Cambridge play this season. How deep people look into it, but I've watched them play a couple of games. I've watched the last couple of games highlights, especially since we knew this game was going up, to see how they were going to play. They play almost like how you expect a Neil Harris team to play. They fight hard. They have a good attack. They get the ball in the box and they can score goals from it. They had a really good result this weekend, beating Fleetwood at home. And I'm not expecting the game on Tuesday night to be easy. I am actually expecting a little bit of a hard fought one. Lads, we'll end the preview. How we always do, really, and we'll look at sort of players to watch and stuff like that. AJ, I'll start with you, mate. Is there a particular player to watch from both teams for you? And can I get a scoreline prediction, please?
Honestly, I have no idea about Cambridge, so as much as I probably should, as they're probably now my local, although technically I think Peterborough is closer. I don't know about Cambridge. As for Fulham, it's anyone's guess because of how many changes we're likely to see. But if he plays, I'd like to say Muniz. I think it just makes sense, frankly, that we get more of Muniz trying to be the best that he can. Yeah, scoreline prediction 4-0 Fulham. I'm hoping for us to go and bag a few and make it worth our while.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to want us to win, isn't it? Matt, how about you, mate? Players to watch and a scoreline prediction, please.
So, player to watch for me, just solely because it's Marco and we all know the way he thinks. I have a feeling Kevin's going to start. So, I'm going to go with Kevin for us. I do not know anyone from Cambridge, unfortunately, so I can't give you one from that, especially with being from Northern Ireland. It is like the furthest team away from my knowledge. But I think it might be 4-3. Could potentially go to penalties. I have a feeling it's going to be a very, very high scoring game. But I think it might go to penalties.
Okay, well, I hope not, quite frankly. But we'll see how it is. For me, Cambridge wise, they do have a few players that I've noticed over the last couple of weeks have played some decent football. I think that one of the things that we do have to be aware of is their ability to put a ball in the box. I think Major's pretty good in the sense of he's impressed me watching him play. He's a young player, obviously trying to come through. And they also have an ex-Sutton United player, Kylian Kouassi, who I doubt we'll see play, but we might do, who I see play a few times at Sutton when he was down at Sutton. So, he potentially could come on and cause a bit of a nuisance. For us, with the squad we're expecting change, I think it's another really important game for Cuenca, especially as we know with Bassi going to be out because of African Cup of Nations in December and January. It's important that when he is given minutes on, he just plays how he can play. He hasn't let us down so far this season, so he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. Whoever plays up front, they need to score. It is quite as simple as that, really. If we see Muniz there, great. If we see Rail there, then that's fine. Whoever it is, they just need to score. I won't be too shocked if to see Kevin start on Tuesday, but I hope we don't see Kevin on Tuesday. If he ends up on the bench and it comes on, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me too much. I wouldn't mind seeing Chukwueze start this game, though. I think he needs some minutes in those legs. And for that alone, he'd be the player that I would want to watch the most going into this game, just out of pure curiosity about what we're going to see as a player. Scoreline prediction, I have to go 3-0 Fulham. We need to be solid at the back and keep a clean sheet. And I want to just get to the point where we can close up shop and see the game out. I know in the last round we did that. We took a 2-0 lead and basically we didn't give up. We're still attacking, but there was less intent because there wasn't that much needed. It's a big game away against Villa on the weekend. And as much as all the players probably won't be in that starting lineup, I think conserving energy around the ranks is going to be important going forward. Lads, that's it really, mate. There's not really much to talk about in this one other than hoping that Fulham can go into this one, and have a really good game, get through, and get a decent draw in the next round. It would be nice. Grimsby is available, so that would be nice after they've had a couple to go through. Not really much more to say other than we'll see you for the Villa preview on Friday, and obviously the review of this one that should be out on Thursday. Lads, thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully Fulham win and we can get through. As always, come on your whites.